Welcome everybody to Hector Garcia's advanced webinars. This is QuickBooks Online updates for Q3 2025. We're going to spend about 15 minutes or so. I'm going to talk about all the webinars that are coming up. I'm going to talk about some live trainings that I will be attending or colleagues of mine will be attending. I'm going to talk about some new videos that I created that I'm recommending, and I want to discuss a little bit of what I'm working on today. I think it'll be fascinating for you guys that haven't caught up in like what I'm doing these days. It's actually pretty interesting. Then I'll quickly just go through all the newest features we have released in my extension called RightTool for QuickBooks Online. Then I'll spend 35 to 40 minutes just going deep into the new QuickBooks Online changes, the new screen, shortcuts, how it works, how it's supposed to work, shortfalls, annoyances, grievances, everything that has to do with all the latest changes of QuickBooks Online, which July and August have been just huge. And for a lot of accounting professionals, they don't like it too much. As a matter of fact, if you go into the chat, just for the benefit of everybody, just put like or unlike the new UI changes in QuickBooks Online. Just like or unlike, very simple. Just go like and unlike so everybody can kind of see, how many likes versus unlikes. And after we're done today, hopefully you'll walk out liking it more if you're already on the like camp, or unliking it less if you're the unlike camp. So no matter what, hopefully I want to move you into the right direction anyway, in terms of liking something that we don't control. Like, this is going to happen. We can't do anything about that. Then we're going to move on to, I'm going to spend maybe 5 minutes just talking about their announcements in payroll and sales tax. I don't do much payroll and sales tax these days myself, even though I'm doing a training on sales tax tomorrow, actually. But so I'm not going to spend too much time about that. And then I'll talk about a few new features in Intuit Enterprise Suite, which has me very excited. So let's jump right to it. I'm going to start with sort of news events. So first of all, I got a couple of webinars coming up, so I want to promote them. They're all free. So I have a webinar tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, which is called The 4 Conversations with Blair Enns. It's actually my favorite book that I read this year. And I have the author coming into our Reframe webinars. And we're going to chat about the book and about how, the 4 conversations, the concept of marketing, branding, selling your services, closing the deal, and then post-closing sort of repetitive business, how that works, because a lot of people watching this is running a small business or running an accounting firm, that sort of speak. So like knowing how to sell your services is extremely valuable. So I'm excited about that webinar coming up tomorrow with Blair Enns. Then at 3 p.m., again, it's back to back. Tomorrow's going to be a super busy day for me. I'm going to have a webinar in CPA Academy called Managing Sales Tax in QuickBooks Online. Essentially, I'm going to walk you through every button you can press to manipulate the different options in the sales tax system inside QBO. And it's really, really important to talk about that, because QBO, and I'll discuss that in a little bit soon, QBO is going to start offering sales tax e-filing inside QuickBooks Online. I don't know if that's an extra fee. It's not available in Florida, so I haven't been able to test it. So that's actually kind of interesting in itself, kind of worth discussing in general. Then next week on Monday, I have a webinar. I'm going backwards. We're doing ChatGPT 101, how to get started. A lot of people haven't jumped in the ChatGPT bandwagon or kind of looked at it a couple months ago and haven't seen it. So I'm going to get people from scratch, especially if you're an accounting professional. How does ChatGPT work? I'm going to show you all the little tricks that I've been learning along the way. That's going to be on Monday at 12 p.m. These are all free webinars, by the way. None of these have a paywall. And then in October will be the next bi-monthly webinars for RightTool. And most people already registered for that. Don't need to know about that. But when I talk about RightTool briefly, you're like, oh, that seems kind of interesting. I want to learn more about it. Definitely register at least for the next webinar so you can get caught up on all the things that we are doing in the RightTool world. Now, live in-person events. There's 2 big in-person events coming. We have Intuit Connect in Las Vegas. I am not scheduled to go yet. Okay, I'm trying to figure out if I can get a sponsor to take me there. I've grown a little. I'm going to tell you something I haven't shared in public, but I've grown a little I don't know, spoiled that every single year Intuit Connect offers me to speak, and they pay me, and they pay for the ticket, and they pay for the hotel. And I hate Vegas. Like I can't. I loved Vegas the first time I went. I kind of lukewarm liked it the second time. Now that I've been there 10 times, I don't want to go to Vegas ever again. So if I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to work. If I'm going to work, I'm going to get paid what I'm worth. So like I told Intuit straight up, hey, listen, I thank you for the offer and stuff, but I set my own rates. Okay. So like if you want me to speak over there, I have my rate, right? And then for all sorts of logistical reasons, it's a nightmare for Intuit to like have different speakers with different rates. And they're like, hey, this is what we charge. This is what we do. If you take it or leave it. And I said, I'll leave it, right? So maybe possibly for the first time ever, I will miss Intuit Connect because I wanted to practice what I preach. I have an entire conference coming up in November, all about pricing with confidence and having the confidence to price what you're worth. And if I can't apply what I'm teaching, forget it, right? So if there is a software company that wants to fly me out there and thinks it's valuable to have me up there, reach out to me and we can discuss what that looks like. Otherwise, it is a conference I recommend with my eyes closed. Tons of fun. It's amazing. They're going to show you all the new things they're working on with QuickBooks, some that may or may not, be developed, and they're going to make all sorts of promises, some that they may or may not keep. In either case, it doesn't matter. It's a great conference to go. I guarantee you, I'll put my guarantee on it. You'll have tons of fun. It's a great investment. But the conference I am going to be in, 100%. Oh, wait, hold on. By the way, RightTool, my software company, is a sponsor of Intuit Connect. So even though I may not go, I'll be there in spirit with my software company and my partner, Mark, and probably one of our team members, Joe, or whoever in RightTool, will go and we'll have a booth there. So if you are going to Intuit Connect, go to the RightTool booth and say hi to my brother from another mother, Mark, my partner in RightTool. But the conference that I am going to, I'll be there because it's my event. It's called Reframe, 2.5-day event in Miami, Florida. I am more than excited because right now versus last year, we have more tickets sold than last year. And as a matter of fact, we have less than 18 tickets left. So for those that are hearing about Reframe for the first time, I'll make my quick pitch is if you want to learn how to increase your prices or price better with confidence in the post-AI world where our clients are coming to us and saying, well, if AI can do this, why are your prices so high? Can you make it cheaper? Can you just have AI do it? So we're going to explore what it looks like to talk about pricing for our professional services in a world where the AI narrative is sort of winning, unfortunately, even though AI is kind of crap today. It's just the narrative is winning. So that's it. Let me talk really quickly about the videos that I have posted. These are all in YouTube. ChatGPT new features. You definitely want to check that out. I also created this video called I built a PDF to CSV bank statement converter with Claude AI. So the video itself walks you through how me, a non-developer, I don't know any code, I actually built this application. And it's sort of working. I mean, keep in mind, it is a free application. And I want to show you real quick. I want to show you the app real quick. It's actually kind of neat. And at the same time, I'm very, very proud that it took me literally 35 minutes to build this app. So this app is up and running on the cloud. You literally just go into that URL. If you don't see the URL, just click on the video, and in the slides, the videos are there. Okay, and again, you can go into the live chat and see down in the bottom, a link to the live slide. So if you go into the video and you go into the description of the video, it'll take you to this link here. That is this this app that I built in 35 minutes. I mean, like again, whether it's 100% perfect or 95% perfect, that's a different situation. And I completely understand that if the app is not 100% reliable, it's a non-starter. But the fact that I built it so quickly, and it works for the most part. Actually, for the tests that I've been doing, it works pretty damn well. And I'm actually going to show you an example of that. I'm looking for a bank statement. Give me a second. I'm just looking for the bank statement here. Sorry, I should have this readily available, but I closed it by mistake. So I'm going to show you bank statement. So you see on the screen a PDF bank statement. You just go in the chat saying, yes, I see a Chase bank statement. This is a test bank statement that I use for training and all that sort of thing. So let's say I got a PDF bank statement. I don't have an Excel file. I don't have a CSV. I have a PDF bank statement, and I don't want to manually enter this stuff into QBO. I want to detect, I want to read the PDF and I want it in CSV because maybe I want to do something in Excel or I want to use it through bank feeds, right? So one of the annoying part is if I don't have a direct connection to the bank or the built-in, which we'll talk about in a second, the built-in QuickBooks Online PDF converter is not working, here's an alternative. So I'm going to show you, I'm literally going to click and drag that statement into this app. Again, what I'm telling you is I built this app in 35 minutes and I haven't touched it ever since. And it's public, it's available to the public. 1,200 people have played with it already. Not bad, right? So you click on extract data, and I'm not, this is not being edited. This is all live, okay? I'm gonna click on extract data, and the PDF gets read by this app. And again, this is Claude AI. This will be similar than you copy and pasting, or uploading the bank statement into Claude or into ChatGPT and saying, convert this into a CSV file. What I've done though, is I saved all the prompting and all the cleanup process that you have to do. I pre-built it, so it only does one thing. You copy and paste. You drag and drop your PDF file, and then it goes in there and it does like a quick reconciliation for you. So it reads beginning balance, ending balance, net change. It makes sure that all the data is extracted. Down here, it creates a table that's a digital table. So it read everything that's in it. If there are check numbers, even more interesting, I designed it so you go read the check number and bring the stuff into here. And then once you are ready to do something with this, you would click on download CSV, and it downloads a CSV file for you. And then you would use this file. So I'm just gonna drag it here to the right side. Then you use this file to upload it into QuickBooks or manipulate it in Excel, whatever you would do with a digital file, much better than you would do with a PDF. It's all pre-done for you. Now, does this need to exist? No, there's amazing apps out there like MoneyThumb and ProperSoft that do this, but this is free. I want to make sure that we are aware that this is free. Like you didn't pay anything, and we did it all with AI, and it took very little time. And what's really cool is you can edit the amounts. There's all sorts of interesting things here. I created this thing called Magic AI Cleaner. So when you click on Magic AI Cleaner, it'll actually go out to AI, and it will try to clean up some of the vendor names. So it'll remove like some like extra fluff that you typically get from like debit card transactions, where there's a bunch of numbers or dates or blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of the point. And again, there's absolutely no need for this app to exist because there are other apps out there. But the reason why I'm showcasing the app first, but what I want you to do is I want you to look at the video, because I want to inspire you, especially if you're an accounting professional that thinks to them, I'm not a software designer. I think the world needs more users, more people like us that are using software day in, day out, that know what the real problems are, the real challenges are. And we should be building applications ourselves. Like getting a bunch of accountants together to build applications for us, it's going to be better than all these tech bros that build all this crap that AI does this and AI does that, and nothing really works, and everything's just a one big waste of time. Like the last 3 months, I've had more demos with software companies that want to show me their next AI thing that's going to change accounting, and it's a bunch of junk. Like the first 3 things work and then nothing else works, and it's just extremely impractical. Now, I'm not saying that AI won't get there. I'm not saying developers won't get there. They'll get there. But right now, it's a big waste of time because they're thinking like tech bros. They're not thinking like accountants that deal with customers day in, day out. So who's better positioned to make the applications for the future than us ourselves? And for the longest time, because we don't know how to code and we didn't go to school for coding, that we didn't have access to that. But check out these videos, especially the ChatGPT ones and the Claude AI ones that are in here, because I want to help you think outside the box on how AI can actually help you create things. Not AI to replace accounting, AI to create things to enhance accounting. I'm going to give you another example. There's this little video in the bottom called experimenting with a new idea called Reconciliation Helper. If you haven't seen this, get ready to get your mind blown. Okay, are you ready to get your mind blown? Put yes in the chat, and we'll start the mind blowing process. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the reconcile screen here, and like I'm staring at I stare at QuickBooks all the time, and I'm like, all right, we gotta figure out how to like make our lives easier, right? I feel we spend way too much time in the reconciliation screen. I feel like the reconciliation screen is a place where we just waste away years of our life that we will never get back, because no one in their deathbed at 80 is going to say, I wish I had seen more reconciliation screens. Like I feel like a big part of our potential talent and what we can do for this world is wasted clicking things like a monkey in the reconciliation screen. So I'm showing you that this bank does reconcile. You see it clearly. This bank does reconcile. It gets to 0. I've already done the work. I've done it manually. However, not always we land and it looks like this. Like we actually have to go through and figure out which transactions, have to be left out of the reconciliation. And what you do with that reconciliation, unreconciled transactions, it's a whole nother conversation. But for us to move forward and complete, the task for that month, we got to complete reconciling that month. So we waste too much time on that. And we have way too much information out there to do this automatically. So I'm going to do is I'm going to select all and like screw up this reconciliation. I'm just screwing it up. I'm going to click things here at random. Okay. And I'm stuck. I tried, I went through it manually. I'm stuck. And I want, the darn computer system to do it automatically. Let's go back again to the bank statement. I'm using the same example. Let's assume I have this bank statement, and let's assume that I converted this bank statement to CSV, or that I downloaded the CSV from the bank. Now, logic dictates. I mean, like we've put people on the moon, and we have wireless internet and driverless cars. We've done this. Like humanity has done incredible things, but we haven't done the most simple thing, which is I already have all the transactions in a CSV file. Why can't the freaking computer auto reconcile itself? But guess what? After this took me like 5 hours, and this is me, playing with ChatGPT and Claude and like just doing a bunch of things in AI. I figured out how to do this. Now, this what I'm about to show you is not yet available to the public. Like I finished it 2 days ago, or maybe last night. I haven't slept much up, but it's finished last night. But it's actually super cool. So what I do is, it's the extension runs on your browser. You click on the button, then this little pop-up comes up. So now what you're actually seeing is something that I built using AI that could be useful and potentially a game changer. And this is actually not using any AI. This is using hard-coded logic. I used AI to program it, but this is using hard-coded logic because you don't need AI. You have a spreadsheet, for God's sake. You don't need AI. Actually, AI doesn't even know how to manage spreadsheets. So we're using just regular logic. So what you're seeing here on the left side is these are just the transactions. This is just a summary. These are all the transactions that have been cleared already. So whatever it's in QuickBooks showing that somebody marked it cleared, whether it's useful or not, it's showing here on the left side. Okay. And then we have the grouping of the ones that have not been cleared. So you have you have a very clear, no pun intended, list of things that you're seeing here. The next thing we're going to do is we're literally going to click and copy and paste the transactions, or select the PDF statement. So you can either paste it there or select it. And through simple logic, I told it, look, go back 90 days max and go forward 30 days. If the dollar amount matches from the bank statement, from the part that I pasted in there or that I uploaded in there, mark it green and mark it green on the other side, essentially showing me, the things that are cleared in QuickBooks do match, and then the things that are uncleared in QuickBooks do match. So once I get to the point where I actually see, the total debits that were matched, total credits that were matched, and that matches the statement, I have what I'm calling a pre-reconciliation worksheet. Now, from here, you can actually download a CSV of the transactions that were cleared in the bank, but didn't make it to the bank. So basically, what it does is it eliminates them out. So you have a record. Okay, all these transactions are in your reconciliation screen, but didn't match the bank. So I won. That means I can select all and unselect these transactions, and I'll by process of elimination, I will reconcile. I can also export the ones that that were originally uncleared in the bank that didn't make it to the bank. So good. There's this one. So basically, this one was uncleared already originally, and it didn't match the bank. Okay, and then if there's anything left on the statement, like there's missing transactions, I'm having some people test this for me, and they're saying, Hector, what do I do with the missing transactions? I not yet figured out how to get it to create the missing transactions. That would be like version 2 of this. But what I'm really proud of is not this part, is the next part. I'm crossing my fingers that it'll work in the live demo, but there's a little button here called batch clear transactions. And essentially I programmed it to then, after I figure out that everything matches, click on batch clear, and I'm going to put my hands up so you can see I'm on the webcam. And the thing is going in the background and it's clicking and unclicking things for me to get me to the point to automatically reconcile it for me. Now that's useful software, right? I don't need any flashy AI that says, well, do this, do that. That's what I need. Like, that's what software is supposed to do. It's supposed to do simple things like matching $100 with $100 and moving on. So I would love to know in the comments, in what context this wouldn't be useful, because now I have to, obviously we got to test this. We got to make sure that it works in different situations on banks and credit cards, with 300 transactions, 800 transactions, 50 transactions, transactions that all look the same. And we have to think about the logic about, what if I got 500 checks and how do I match them? All that stuff. But eventually the idea is that this is not a standalone software, that we add this to RightTool. So if you're a RightTool user and we figure this out, good news, you're going to have this in your software built in. So give me like a month or two. But I'm trying to gauge for, how useful this would be. Is it worth it going one step further? So I built a prototype just to prove that it works. We got to figure out about all the other moving parts, right? Like, I think the most important one here is, what if transactions are missing? Can you create them? And that's the part that's a little bit more difficult. So just wanted to kind of leave it out there and kind of inspire you to look at all these videos that I've been creating on AI, because I'll kind of walk you through how I how I build this app. So so repeating amounts are going to be a challenge for sure. I don't know. I have to think about the logic of that, and our beta testers will probably help us with that. I got to think about how to create transactions that are missing, and then I got to think about whether or not we want to ask the user if we just should automatically delete everything that's extra. That could be interesting too, because that would be like the whole thing, right? So enter the missing ones, reconcile the ones that match, and delete the ones that I don't need, a particular date range or whatever, gone, right? Maybe not the connected ones like customer payments or bill payments, because that's more complicated. But that's kind of like the concept that I'm thinking. And then once we kind of get through that, then we can think about reconciling other things, like reconciling merchant account statements or reconciling deposits that contain a bunch of customer payments. There's a lot of interesting things that can be built from there. So if you are a RightTool user, you would probably be tapped to beta test this stuff, because this is like I'm a software developer, but I'm not creating new software. Like I'm going to channel everything through RightTool. So check out all the other videos that I created. I'm sure they'll inspire you to think about AI differently, I would say. Just really quick, we added, from the last time that I did this quarterly webinars, we added 4 really important features to RightTool. One, the ability to batch edit accounts in transactions with products and services. So as you know, the batch the reclassify tool in QuickBooks doesn't allow you to reclassify bills or invoices that contain items, that contain products or services. So we build a little hack, so to speak, that allows us to change the underlying account without changing the item itself. So I find that to be sort of interesting unto itself. So that's a tool that a lot of people are loving. And the next thing that we added, and I put a quick polling question about RightTool. I just want to get an idea for how many people are looking at this and going, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. We added the ability to batch enter timesheets. So if you have a CSV file with timesheet data, you upload it up there, and it'll automatically create the timesheet for you in QBO. We built this cost and expense allocation, and this was a suggestion from my friend Melissa, and this was at the RightTool retreat. And it's actually pretty cool. All these links, by the way, show you the video that shows you how this works. This is pretty neat. She was telling me that she has a nonprofit, and every time there's a deposit, there's, let's say, 20 or 30 customers, right, that are inside the deposit, but then there's a merchant fee, right? So they receive a bunch of payments from a bunch of customers, but the customers are named in QuickBooks. There's invoices or sales receipts for them. But then when I have to net out the merchant fee, it's just one line. And then she manually has to break down that merchant fee by customer, by class. So what we did was actually a really nifty thing all through RightTool is when you have that situation, you click on auto detect and it'll split the merchant fee and assign it to each customer proportional to the payment. Super awesome. The suggestion was awesome. Very niche. Like a lot of people are like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Hector, or I don't understand the use case, et cetera, et cetera. Very niche, but we added that. So for QuickBooks users, that's amazing. And also ability to batch update payment terms on bills. So we had one particular customer that all their bills are being created by a third party. I don't know if it was Bill.com or Expensify or some other app was creating the bills, but it wasn't putting the right payment terms. So you have to go in there and manually go in there and change the payment terms. So like if you want to go back and change payment terms for a bunch of bills, that's built into RightTool. So thank you for indulging me on that. Let's get on with all the QuickBooks Online stuff. I'm going to give myself a little breather here to drink a little bit of water. Okay, because we're about to get really, really deep and intense. And by the way, all you guys that are RightTool users, thank you so much for being RightTool users. And those that haven't, I'm telling you, you're missing out. There's a free version. So start with that. So let's start with QuickBooks UI overhaul. So in this slide, I'm just going to give you like the theory in terms of like why Intuit is doing this. First of all, they want to modernize, right? They want to modernize the look and feel of QBO. Their newer users, I would say the under 30-year-olds, are exposed to software that's more modern, so to speak. And I know that term is kind of vague, but they go into QuickBooks on the old version and they feel it's old software. So like that's the worst thing you can do as a software company is have the next generation of customers all think your software is old. So that's the first thing that QuickBooks had to fix. The other thing that they did, which I think was actually pretty cool, is Zen mode or full screen mode. I'm going to demo that, where you hit Control plus period. So keyboard shortcut, Control plus. If you haven't tried it yet, and you have multiple screens, go into QBO, hit Control period, and you're going to see your screen goes into full screen mode. That's actually pretty awesome. I particularly like that. I have some gripes with it, which I'll explain in a little bit. But it's actually great. I think that's like a huge benefit. One thing that they did, and this is, I'm not sure if this is more of a marketing play than anything else, but they are trying to change the terminology. The apps actually doesn't mean a third-party application that talks to QuickBooks. I mean, for so long, they were saying, well, if QBO can't do what you wanted to do, just add an app, right? That's always been the narrative. Don't worry, if QBO can't do it, there's an app for that, right? And there usually was the idea to put a Band-Aid on the fact that QuickBooks Desktop is so much more powerful than QuickBooks Online. And they say, don't worry, QuickBooks Online plus an app will solve your problem, which actually technically doesn't for the most part, different conversation. But the new interface is meant for the users and even the language, like Intuit employees, when they do demos, they call banking an app and they call invoicing an app and they call vendors an app. Like literally they're calling different sections of the software, different areas, different modules, so to speak, they're calling it apps. And now the terminology for third-party apps is now integration. So like just when you start hearing people, especially Intuit employees, talk about apps, they're not talking about a third-party app you add onto QuickBooks. They're talking about apps being functions inside QuickBooks. Now, what that does to your psyche is now when you think of QuickBooks, you don't think of accounting software that has different modules. You think QuickBooks is a plethora of apps to solve all my small business problems. This could be part of their strategy to not have third-party app partners. It could be, or maybe not. I mean, they haven't said it out loud, but sort of kind of feels like that, particularly because they now charge, third-party app developers when they get over a certain size, when they have enough customers, they're now charging for every single token, so to speak, for every single transaction that's being pulled out of QuickBooks. They don't charge anything to put data in QuickBooks, but they're charging to take data out of QuickBooks. So that leads me to believe that it's kind of like Amazon's strategy, right? Like Amazon saw a bunch of people selling batteries. It said the batteries are selling like gangbusters. What does Amazon do? Amazon branded batteries, killed every other battery salesperson, and Amazon just does that. So I think that Intuit might have the power to just kind of see what people are doing with third-party apps and say, well, why don't we develop it ourselves internally? So in my opinion, and I told this to everybody at Intuit, I tell it all the time, I don't care. They're spending way too much time trying to be a lot of things to a lot of people instead of just being best in class and actually be a really good bookkeeping software. And I think that's where that's where they fail, in my opinion. Now they win stock market wise. The stock went up, and the market thinks that Intuit is amazing because they do all sorts of things. But I think where they lose is the hearts and minds of the power users, the loyal power users. They lose them, and there'll be a point where accountants will be so fed up with so much change that doesn't really do anything, that they don't feel like an actual partner that solves the problems that I'm looking for. You're solving everybody else's problems except for the people you call partners. I mean, imagine that, right? Like imagine if I went to my spouse and say, yeah, you're my partner, but I don't care about your problems. I'm solving everybody else's problems. That makes no sense. That's not partnership, okay? So I think Intuit needs to seriously look internally into what a partnership actually means. And it should mean that you got to make good stuff for accountants, right? Or to your partners. Now, they told me that Intuit Connect this year, they're going to make a big announcement, like a big super duper announcement about like how they're overhauling the entire QuickBooks Online accountant experience. And from there will be like a new Intuit, and it will be completely different, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I won't put all my eggs in that basket, and I won't hold my breath, right? But I'm excited to see what they got, and I'll give them a chance and give that a shot. The other thing that happened, which I think was a big part of the frustration, and in my opinion, probably part of the failure, is that all these new AI changes happen at the same time as the new announcements for the agents or AI stuff, but these things are not connected. Like typically the agents and the UI change is not a requirement. So I've seen a lot of people with the old UI using the agents, right, the AI stuff. So they're not connected, but by releasing both at the same time, it just created a lot of confusion. And I think a lot of accounting professionals, the way I'm reading, they're confusing AI with the UI changes, and they say, oh, the new AI doesn't work. And it's like, okay, what exactly are you talking about? Okay, no, it's talking about the new UI, not the AI changes. And there's things to criticize on both sides. And by October, all users will be in the new UI. So even though you have the ability to opt out today, I need you to be ready. So if you're opted out today, get ready because it's about to change. Okay. So we have September and we have August, and those are the last 2 months that you're going to have, with the old UI. You're going to have to get used to the new UI. Now, I did an article for Firm of the Future, which is where Intuit kind of houses their announcements for accountants. I asked them if I could do, I could do an article where I kind of promote a video where I walk you through all the changes. That video is like an hour and a half. So it's a little bit longer, more detailed than this webinar, but it'll give us so I'll give you a chance to preview it, but then, go watch that video because it's going to be a lot longer. Okay, so let's talk about long introduction to get to, let's talk about the new UI changes in QBO. So again, as we mentioned earlier, you can click on the gear menu and you can click on switch, and you can switch back to the old version. Now, the one thing that kind of drives me crazy is that if your clients switch it back to the new version, it switches on your side too. So accountants and clients are tied into these changes, right? So if you change it for both accountants and users, and it happens. So it's not working independently. That might be a good thing, right? Because again, if if the change is inevitable and there's nothing you can do about it, might as well get the accountants used to that. Okay. Now, the accountants have one thing that regular users don't have, is that they have this little button here that says My Menu. That right there is the saver, right? Without that My Menu, this would have been a complete disaster for accounting professionals. And a lot of accounting professionals are already announcing that they kind of have a tough time with the new UI changes. But I think that a lot of them are not noticing that this My Menu here, this is everything. This My Menu actually changes everything. Okay. The only thing they didn't add to My Menu was the button to open a new window. And there used to be a little button that said New Window. That's the only part that is missing from here. And the reason that's missing is because you can literally right-click anywhere. Actually, you could right-click on the tab and duplicate, and that's kind of the same thing as a new window. Or you can right-click on any link, and then you can go open in a new tab or a new window. So that new window or new tab function, so to speak, it's actually kind of redundant because the browser has it built in. Most browsers have it built in, but that's the only thing they haven't added. Now, this My Menu, again, mostly for accountants, this My Menu is actually a game changer, I think, especially when accountants are not when accountants are involved. If you're not an accountant, you won't see My Menu, and you're just going to see the Create button, and that's it. So of course, the Create button is there, and all the areas that you're used to using for creating new transactions, they're still there. The Create button has not changed. Bookmarks is for you to create custom bookmarks. There's two ways to create custom bookmarks. Okay, one is to click on Bookmark Current Page. Okay, and that's whatever page you're in, you bookmark that, or you click on the Edit button. And in the Edit button, you search for different areas in QuickBooks and you add the bookmarks in there, right? Now, not every screen in QuickBooks is listed here. Most of them are, and it's also searchable. So if I'm looking for estimates or whatever, I click on that and I add it. So that just adds a bunch of bookmarks. That's all it is. If I click on Edit again, I can change the order. So if I want vendors in the top, I click and drag. If I want reconcile as second, I click and drag. If I want chart of accounts as third, I click and drag. Great. Okay. Then you have my bookmarks are in order. By the way, I'll claim this. This is totally inspired by RightTool. Right? Like we literally invented this concept, 3 years ago when RightTool was created, where you can create your own custom bookmarks and you change the order. So notice I said that they were inspired by it, not that they took the idea, because I would never say that, but they were inspired by RightTool. And for the people that are already RightTool customers, this change of the new AI wasn't as bad because people were already used to like not looking at the left, just looking at the right, and they don't really care if Intuit changes the interface because RightTool always remains constant. And RightTool was, partially inspired by the way QuickBooks Desktop navigates and that sort of thing. So like RightTool customers, for the most part, weren't as affected deeply as, non-RightTool customers that were so dependent on that left navigation bar, which I'm going to talk about even further. Now, when you first log into QuickBooks, you're going to land on the home page or the dashboard, okay, which is this button that you press here. If you are a non-accountant and you click on the Intuit QuickBooks logo in the top left, it will take you to the home page. But if you are an accountant, and really the fastest way of knowing if you're an accountant or not is if you see a little drop-down icon next to the company name. You see a drop-down icon next to the company name, you know you're logged in as an accountant, period. That's the sort of easiest thing to see it. Drop-down menu, okay, that means you're an accountant because no longer it says accountant on it. So if you remember the old system, if I switch back, if I go to like switch here, the old system will say accountant in it. Like, so it'll be a little bit more obvious that you're in the accountant screen. This is the old system, right? The pre, new UI, which is, which has accountant on it. So it was a little bit more obvious then when it had accountant on it. But when I switch back to the new experience, just click on the gear menu and click on switch. So good news is you can switch back and forth. So it's like not like a permanent thing. So it's not like a big decision you have to make. So if you haven't tried it yet, just switch any of your clients and you can go to it. The one that I you can't change yet is your own account, your accountant account, like your firm account. I don't understand why. Don't ask. I don't know. But you can only change like client accounts unless someone has been able to do your own account. Put it in the chat if you've been able to like change your own account. But I haven't figured out how to do like the firm account on it. So the other thing I want to mention is there's a feed button now, which is now like all the AI stuff. So what QuickBooks is trying to do is it's trying to build a homepage for anything that the agents are doing automatically. So they advertise an accounting agent and a customer agent and a payments agent and a project agent and a finance agent. And you're going to start seeing the word agent be added and used, interchangeably with no regard to what it means or not, it'll be used. Okay. So they're going to be using a lot of whatever agent and this agent. And what agent means in the QuickBooks world is we're going to try to automate some process that you used to do manually, right? So we're going to do this sort of in the background, do it for you. And this new feed section is a summary of everything that's being done automatically with agents. Like this sample file doesn't have a lot of agents enabled yet. But what you'll see if you switch to a different company, maybe let me switch to this one to see if there's more stuff in the feed section. So give me a second while that loads. Let's go into feed and you're going to see like, agent whatever did this and agent whatever did that. Okay, this is not a good example. I guess my agents are not working. My agents are on vacation. my QuickBooks agents are on vacation, I guess. But in the feed section, like anytime an agent did something, you will see like, okay, we did this in the background. We set this up in the background for you. So that's feeds. Okay. That's an area that I probably won't be spending a lot of time in. Then we have our report section. And what they did is they separated the reports left navigation bar, the reports section or the reports app. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. They separated this as its own thing. So the reports is not bundled together with the rest of the quote apps. I don't know if I'm allowed to call reports apps or not. I guess that's the only thing that's not an app. So you have to go into reports to be able to see any of the reports. Now, the rest of the stuff in QuickBooks is under My Apps. You literally have to click on My Apps to then get this navigation screen, which is what almost every single accountant was driving them nuts, insane, that when they first log into QuickBooks, they didn't see the left navigation screen. And it makes zero sense to me that I have to click on something to get in the menu. And that would be single-handedly, like QuickBooks could have solved this entire kerfuffle if this apps menu opened automatically when you logged into QuickBooks. I would say that's number one. The single most important thing is that when you first log into QuickBooks, it goes into the dashboard, and for some strange kooky reason in which I wasn't part of the decision, when you go into the homepage, that left navigation screen doesn't show, okay? Now, there are the apps, so to speak, are now in a carousel up here. And there's a little carousel here where you can scroll left and right and access the apps. As soon as I click any of these apps, which again, is not an app, it's a section inside what used to be QuickBooks, one of the modules of QuickBooks, then the left navigation bar comes up. So at this point, I think most accountants' anxiety kind of go down a little bit when they see this left navigation bar that you can collapse and expand. But again, the problem or the challenge is that when you click on a dashboard, when you log in, this shows up. That's what messes things up. So my suggestion is when you're first going to QuickBooks, set it up in such a way that goes straight into the banking page. Like that's the ideal situation, is just set it up so the first thing that you see is the banking page. Now, generally, to do something like that, you would have to like have a link in your desktop that goes straight into the banking page. That will solve the problem, because when you are in the banking page or anything, like I usually do the banking page, but when you're in anything that's the app, so to speak, this left navigation bar opens up. Let me collapse RightTool here. This left navigation bar opens up. So that's the challenge. So the challenge is if I go into feeds or if I go into dashboard, these two things automatically hides it. But if I go into my apps, it brings it up so I can bring it in. Now, I want to show you something. So I wrote a script. I'm sorry if you're arriving late and you don't have the context of me, like I want to be programmer today, but I wrote this little script that here's my ChatGPT chat this little cheat right here. I wrote this little script that I installed as a Chrome extension, so to speak. I haven't added this into RightTool yet, but I wrote this little script. So what I can do now is I could press a keyboard shortcut. So I press Control backtick. And what it does is it hides the rail and the navigation bar at the same time. Look at that. That's me clicking one button in my keyboard and hiding the left rail. That's awesome. I think that if they had given us, you know, a shortcut so I can hide the left rail, again, they would have solved the entire problem, right? But the problem is that they didn't give us left rail collapse, right? So we're gonna insert this into RightTool pretty soon. So with a single button, you can collapse both the rail and the navigation bar, regardless of where you are. So if I'm in the dashboard, for example, and I click on the shortcut, it opens up the My menu for me automatically, only in the accounting edition. So I do that, boom, that's me cycling through the buttons. See that? That's me pressing press. That's Control backtick. It doesn't matter what it is, it's not gonna work for you because you don't have the script installed in your browser. I have the script installed in my browser, and soon to come in RightTool in the free edition, RightTool. But this little things like that is really what makes a difference. And I can't understand why Intuit can't see the simple things. It's the little things that piss us off the most. It's not the big things, right? It's the little things that they take it away or they don't give you access. Christy, backtick, or it's the button to the left of the one. It's under the tilde, the squiggly line that is not used in the English language. That's what I call it. So again, don't try it. That won't work for you. It only works for me. I'm the only person in the world that has this feature because I built it into a script in the browser. Okay, so that gives you that's an idea more or less. If you have any questions about that, put it in the chat so I can answer them before I move on to the next topic. But the next topic here is My Menu. Now, My Menu to me is the closest thing to a quote game changer in the custom menu world. So when you click on My Menu, and only accountants have access to this, when I click on My Menu, there's a little customized button here. And I think that's what truly makes a difference. And I think if Intuit wanted to win at the accountants game, just have the ability to have a setting where we default into My Menu and we're done. If you default into My Menu and banking, you're done. You solved all the problems that people are freaking out about. Like if you start like this, it will work. Okay, and maybe they'll watch the video, maybe they'll be inspired by it and they will do it, hopefully. Okay, but in My Menu, you click on this little settings button, and then you have the first thing is called sections, right? So we have bookmarks, create, and tools. Bookmarks is that bookmarks area that we talked about. Tools is where the accountant tools are. So if I click and drag this all the way to the top, and I'm going to turn off bookmarks and create just for now, just so we can see it in context, just tools, and I click on save. So now when I click on My Menu, it just shows me my accountant tools. So all the accountant tools that people are freaking out that they were gone, they were never gone, always been there. So you have to click on My Menu, and then click on default, and then bring tools to the top. Okay, so that's going to get you the tools all the way to the top. But honestly, that's actually kind of useless to me, especially the way I'm used to functioning. I don't need that. What I need is my custom bookmarks. So I'm going to turn on the custom bookmarks, just the custom bookmarks. And then inside the custom bookmarks, I can add anything I want, right? So I'm just going to get rid of everything for now here. And I'll just have like the dashboard here on my custom bookmarks, and then I'll click save. Okay. So when I click on My Menu, the only thing I see is dashboard. Okay. So what else do I need? Well, I'm going to need my banking page. So I go into bookmarks and I go and I look for banking, which I think is called transactions. Bank transactions right here. That's the second thing I need. The next thing I may need is standard reports. And maybe the next thing I want to see is reconcile, and then chart of accounts. Okay, again, depending on how you function, right? And then I click on save and done. Those are my top 5 things that I visit all the time. That's what I need. I need the things I visit all the time to be there as soon as I log into QBO. That's what I hope. Cross my fingers. This is the type of stuff that they will give us. The only thing that we don't get is the new window button. They should add that back because everybody's freaking out about it. But you don't need a new window button. Just right click on whatever you want to do and click on new tab, and that solves your problem. There we go. There's my second tab. I don't have to do new window every single time. Everybody is freaking out about that new window button. You don't need it. Just right click and get a new tab, or hit Control on your keyboard and click on the thing that you're clicking. in a Mac is Command. So click Command and that opens a new tab automatically. So you don't need the what's it called? The new window button. Just Control click or Command click. Now, some people are saying that they're not seeing the My Menu. I'm not sure why they're not seeing it. I see it, but I don't know. I don't know how to get it. Call support, figure out where the heck the My Menu button is. And so that's it. So here, so the bookmarks. Now, what else I want to see here? Maybe I don't want to see standard reports. Maybe that's like a complete waste for me, right? So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to just get rid of that because that's actually useless, in my opinion. What I want to see here is the profit and loss and the balance sheet. That's useful. So the way that will work is you go into reports and then you pull the report you want. So let's say I pull my profit and loss. And then while I'm looking at the profit and loss with the report period I want, so let's say, for example, I want this year to date, or I want last month, or this year to last month, whatever is the stuff that you always generally pull. You pull it up, you're looking at it on the screen, and then you click on bookmarks, and then you click on bookmark current page. Okay, and you can call it profit and loss, and you can do this year to last month. Okay. TYTLM. I made that up. That's not actually an accounting term. Click on save. And then I do the same thing. I go into reports and then I pull up my balance sheet. Okay. And then I change, the formatting. Let's say I want to do this year to date. That's fine. And then I go into bookmarks and then I click on bookmark current page and I put this year to date. Okay. And I'm doing that in case I happen to have multiple versions of the report in there. And then, okay, hold on again. This year to date, and then click on save. And again, this My Menu only shows up when you're logged into a client file. So it doesn't show up in your firm's, in the firm's books, because the firm's books have not been updated to the new interface. So now if I happen to be in My Menu, boom, I have my bookmarks in here. Now, this is awesome. This is great. The bad thing about this is that none of these things persist across multiple clients. So you have to build your custom bookmarks menu for every single client. Okay, and this is the difference between RightTool. With RightTool, it's always the same menu across every client, which is why we build that software, right? Because making your own customized menu, it's kind of a pain. So once you do it, fine, you have it. But that's the point. So when I'm at my bookmark, I just click on dashboard or bank transactions or reconcile or chart of accounts or profit and loss. I just cycle through the stuff that matters to me the most. Okay, so that's actually the real valuable piece. Now, I've seen some reports where the current reporting standards, like whether you're this year to date, the last year, all that stuff, is not saving. So if it's not saving, what you can do is you can make the change. So this fiscal year to last month, save it as a customized report first. Then after you save it as a customized report, that it creates a unique URL for this report. Then at that point, go and do the bookmarks, the current bookmark, and then do this year to last month and save. And I'll get rid of the old one that's not working. So like I've heard reports of that. So that's sort of the workaround. That for you to save the report first and then link to the saved report. And all these saved reports have unique links. So this is why you can't have a fixed bookmark across all your clients. So every client that you go to is going to have its own custom bookmarks. Okay, that's kind of like the first half of this. The second half of this is search. The new search is actually awesome. Like I love the new search. And there's a specific reason for that. When I go into advanced search transactions, what I want to do generally, and let me just get rid of all this crap here so I can be in a more comfortable. So generally in here, I get to choose which filters I work with the most. So date range, transaction type, reference number. Let's say I don't work with those that often. So I click on customize here, and then I go into filters, and then I choose in what order I want the search screen to work for me. Let's say I'm always searching something by class, bring all the way up here. And I'm always searching something by sales rep. Let's say it's like, a custom field, and then bring that here to the second row. And then let's say the second thing I'm always searching is memo. So you prioritize based on your needs. This is why this is great. In what order the filters show up. So if I'm usually filtering by class, beautiful. That's what I always use. That's what I want to have. This is awesome. Like, this is really cool. Like Intuit like really exceeded my expectations with this. This is like, I'm not gonna take credit for this. It wasn't my idea. Like, I don't know who gave him the feedback. Amazing, absolutely great, right? So you customize how you filter and how you search your data. Love it. Great path forward. The other thing that I really like also is that in the search amount, which actually saves my butt a little bit, is you can use contextual search, contextual a code instead of using the filter. So for example, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna just go back to the dashboard here, and let's say, for example, I put in the I'm gonna type this. I'm gonna say invoices between $100 and $1,000. So by just typing it, this uses AI to detect what you meant, and it translates that into the filters. Okay, which again, finally, a practical freaking use of AI, like stuff that actually works, right? So it chose my transaction type invoice, and it chose the amount range for me. I love that. Okay, I love that because sometimes I don't know where the filters are, and I can just type it. And people like me that use a lot of voice commands, like I'll turn off the microphone and say it, like my hands are up. Bills under $10,000. Okay. That wasn't me typing. That was me talking, right? And I'm really good at that, particularly good at talking, right? That's like my most important, valuable skill. So I turn off my microphone and just type, just say things. Okay. That's useful for me. So like, this is actually useful for me, right? Being able to use natural language to convert it into a search command. But you have to turn on the microphone and dictation on your computer. Like, every computer has its own little setting for that. Mac is one thing and PC is one thing. So I like that. I particularly like that. I think this is like powerful, useful stuff. So the search screen is one of them. I'm going to go through the slides just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, let's go into bank feeds. Okay. So I thought it was kind of cute to think that I was going to be able to get this all done in an hour and a half. No way. I think we're probably going to go 1 more hour. It's a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, let's go into banking now. And let's talk about bank feeds. Now, one really cool thing that I like is that they added this little button here, which is the code name was Zen mode, but it's really full screen mode. So if you click on that, it hides that gray area, the left rail and the search bar on the top, and it gives you full screen. That's great. Like, particularly for the banking screen, one that has a lot of information, I want that. But I still have 50%, like 50% of the page, it's blank. Okay. So like, it didn't get me all the way there, but it got me, for the most part, very close, which is good. I like that. So control period or command period triggers this. So like, I'm not clicking on the button. I'm just hitting control period. So control and period, or command and period if I'm on a Mac, and you can go back and forth. Look at that. Awesome. Okay. And if you forget about the command, there's an icon here that you can press. Okay. But the icon is not physically present in all the screens. So for example, let's say I'm in the chart of accounts, the icon is not physically present there. So I can't click on the icon. So there's 2 solutions. One, just hit it, right? Control period, just remember it, because it works across almost every single screen, if not all the screens. But if you have RightTool, we actually added it, brought it up here in the top. So like this, the little icon is in RightTool too. So if you forget about the shortcut, just click on that. And inside RightTool, you can expand and like just enable that full screen. So you got the keyboard shortcut, you got sometimes the icon, and you have RightTool. Okay. Somebody says escape key works too. I don't think escape key works. I have been able to use escape key for that. So it's control period, command period, or clicking on the icon. And again, some of the screens, like the bank screen, has a little icon there, because that's really where most, this is where the most feedback about wasted screen space was. Okay, so that's there. And also, I'm just gonna quickly talk about, there's a video called Top Apps and Extensions for QuickBooks Users. Check that video out, because I talk about different things. And there's one specific app that I really, really like, which is called Click to Eliminate. It's called Click to Eliminate, Click to Remove Element. Sorry. So I sometimes I use this app to get rid of crap of the screen that I don't need, right? Like, I don't need the give feedback button, and I don't need bank transaction. So I click on this little button that says click to remove element. I click on this thing, boom, gone. I click on the feedback button, gone, and beautiful. And then I click on this little checkbox that says remember. And in that video, I go over like the details on like how you can use this app. And look, all of a sudden I gave myself 10% more space. So imagine being able to go to any screen, and where there's like wasted stuff. Like the chart of accounts doesn't have any wasted stuff, but I'm sure there'll be another screen that will find, that has wasted space somewhere, and I could click and remove some of the elements. And you got to be very careful, because if you remove something that you need and you didn't realize and you forgot about that, then and then you're gonna drive support nuts. But this also works for pop-ups. So you got any like weird pop-ups that show up all the time? Like I forget which screen it is. I think it's a customer screen. There's always a pop-up in the freaking customer screen. And it's like, dude, really? You already wasted half my screen with white space. Why the hell do I need another pop-up? And I click on this X to get rid of it, and somehow magically it comes back. Okay. And Intuit says, oh, no, it's just a glitch. I glitch my ass. Okay. So you just keep popping up and selling stuff. Right. So like what I like about it is I don't want to see it ever again. I just click on the element thing and I go, boom, I don't need that thing. Get the heck out of here. And then every single time I come back to here, that element is gone forever. Now, if Intuit reprograms, the code and the elements, so the pop-up comes back, you have to just keep deleting it. But again, use that, knowing and understanding that if you contact support, you're going to drive them crazy because they're not going to understand what you're doing with that click to remove element. So it's super cool. So check out that video. It's in the slides. I talk about 10 apps that are kind of like that, like little tiny productivity apps where I just love removing stuff. All right. Lost my train of thought. Banking. Okay. So let's go in the banking screen. Let me collapse here a little bit. So in the banking screen, and let me bring that pop-up. Let me bring that thing back here, because that element has to come back, right? The element that I get rid of, this little bank transactions empty area. So it looks just like yours. So there's generally a lot of things I like about this, and generally a lot of things I don't like about this. Okay. First thing that I like about it is you could pick and choose what you want to see. So if you don't want to see from and to, and you don't want to see request more info, and you don't want to see files, you have levels of control. Also, recently, a couple of months ago, they added the ability for you to select a product or service in here instead of using an account. So you can enable that, and you can have class. So you can sort of kind of customize that experience a little bit, which I like. So like at that particular, in this particular juncture, I'm going to say, I kind of like this. Okay. The other thing is, if you're using this feature that says show bank description, you really don't need to deal with this too much, because it'll show you the full bank description. But if you don't click on show bank description, which means, show full bank description, which means QuickBooks is going to clean up some of the payees, you can hover over hover over it, and if there's any changes between the sort of the cleaned up version of QuickBooks and the data that comes from the bank, you can see it on a little tooltip. Okay, so that's actually not bad. Okay, not bad at all. The things that I don't like is, like, if you look at the screen, it feels like it loads a little slow. Okay, like, or at least slower than the old one. So that to me is a capital sin, like an absolute capital sin for accounting professionals is doing that. Now, if I scroll inside the table, the top header shows. That's beautiful. That's great. But if I scroll outside the table, I can scroll out of seeing the header. So that's dumb. So, so they got to figure out a way for that header to like get stuck there. So then when I'm not scrolling, the table, that I can see the headers, because obviously if I'm all the way down here, I want to see what's in that header. So hopefully they'll fix that. They'll watch this video and go, yeah, you're right. That was dumb. Let's fix it. Okay. So that's those are good things. These resizing things finally seem to work. Like on the old version, resizing seems to be kind of quirky. So like in these resizings are working, and this is fundamental, like for people to kind of like try to figure things out. And they worked with the dynamic of the page to make sure it all fits one page. So that's working well. That requires compliment, so to speak. The matching stuff is the part that's I'm not sure so much. Okay, the matching is just acting kind of strange. Now there's some underlying matching things in which they're going to read elements of what comes in through the bank. That stuff is kind of exciting, but some of the matching is just not. It's not as useful, right? And it's. I like the fact that it shows you like kind of top 3 matches here, and you can go to find other matches and see other combination of transactions that get you there. But I think, Jesus, freaking pop-ups. But I think that this takes way too much space. Like the old screen was about half the size. So I think that these AI screens or AI-based feature screens are a little bit too big. Or I wish I had the option to make it a little bit smaller, because I just think it takes way too much space. Look how much space I'm wasting in the screen just for that. Now, if you don't want to match, I kind of like this toggle. At first, I kind of hate it. I hated the toggle because I really understood it, but it's actually not that bad. Now, the problem I have with these categories is that the categories are not so great. Okay, like for example, there's an electronic withdrawal of $1,000. It's suggesting bank service charges. Why? In what universe I'm paying the bank $1,000 in an electronic withdrawal? So in one way, shape, or form, I think the AI got dumber. I don't know, like somehow not like for it's incredible at spotting some of the stuff, and it's incredibly dumb with the simple stuff. Okay. Like a good example. So we have Holy Heating and Electric. Okay. Holy Heating and Electric, $73 is suggesting utilities and gas. Amazing. It nailed it. Like amazing. I didn't even have to think about it. It did great. Okay. Also, I can create the vendors by clicking on this little button here. And it detects that the vendor already exists. And if the vendor doesn't exist, or the customer, it will prompt you to create it. I like that a lot. But there are some categories that make absolutely no sense. Like, for example, midfield drywall. The suggestion is payroll expenses. In what universe this is? Now, did I choose it before? Well, that's maybe because AI must have categorized it last time like that. And then we have this one called Hamlin Metal. Okay, I don't know what that is, but the suggestion is property taxes. Again, it says you've used this category 1 or more times, but it's probably because it did it for me. Like it did it for me. Like so okay, so it did it for me. It did it wrong, and then it's suggesting to do it wrong again. Okay, that makes no sense. And then the other categories here are food tax expense and that. So I don't know. I'm still trying to understand why it suggests some of these crazy things. Like for example, bad check charges is suggesting jobs, freight, and delivery, and transfer to savings is suggesting telephone. It's just completely insane. Okay. So like sometimes I wish I could just like turn it off. I don't even want to see it, even though I can go in there and change it, right? Like technically I shouldn't be bothered by it because I can go in there and change it. The problem is that my customers are saying, yeah, of course. Yeah. AI is amazing. It's doing everything for me. And it's costing like a lot more work for me. So I'm trying to understand. I'm really, really trying to figure out, how much I like this. Like I like the idea of the option to save time, and then I could change it if it's not correct. But I absolutely hate the idea of customers being lied to, not just Intuit, all the software companies about AI doing this and that, and then having a false sense of security. Was that called false? Is that correct? False sense of security, a false expectation, false sense of security that accounting can do things for you automatically. And then they fire their accountants, and then, then they're too shy to call the accountant back. And all of a sudden, instead of making the economy better, you made the economy worse with a bunch of small business owners with a bunch of bad books, just because you had to sell, the concept that AI, will do things better than accountants can. Now, again, I think it will get there, but no, it's just not there yet, and it's just crazy. All these categories are just nuts. So it's all marketing, it's all fluff, and it's really, really frustrating because it's making me work twice as hard. Okay. Right here, Alliance DPC is suggesting a bank service charge. Let's see this one. Okay, combined insurance premium. Okay, that shows insurance. That's fine. Amazon is choosing office supplies. I like that. SunPass is doing, that's a toll, automobile expense. So so it works like, okay, the grind. Okay, the grind, doesn't matter what it is. That's not a bank service charge. I like, or maybe the bank is grinding us with their bank service charges, but it's just like, it just makes up, like Uber Eats. Okay, Uber Eats is not office supplies, people. Okay, like I guess maybe technically you could use Uber Eats to do that, but I find it that for like credit card expenses that or like very routine travel and stuff like that, it works really well. But yeah, so we want it to get better. I want to help Intuit make it better. Like 7-Eleven, that's not office supplies. That should be automobile, right? That should be gas. Okay, like why are you suggesting 7-Eleven to be office supplies? So it does need a little tweaking. Again, I'm hopeful that we'll get there. It's taking a while. Let's go. Whoops. Okay, let's go to the next slide here. Next thing. Let's go through. Hold on, I lost my place where I was. Okay, next thing that I want to showcase really quick is the PDF bank statement upload. So this is actually great. This is something that accountants have been asking forever. And if you were in the webinar at the very beginning, you saw how I took a bank statement like this, a credit card statement, a bank statement, and I put it into this little AI thing that converted to a CSV file. This essentially does the same thing. I'll click and drag my statement, and it's supposed to read it, and it's supposed to put it to straight into banking. Okay, that's available now. Should be available for everybody. It's amazing. It's a game changer. However, it's sort of hit and miss, and it's hit and miss in two ways. One, is legitimately hit and miss because reading PDF statements is hard. There's like 10,000 different banks in the United States. Sometimes the statements are crumbled up, sometimes they're scanned, they're not digital. There's so many variables, and I've been dealing with PDF to CSV or PDF to QuickBooks conversion forever. But the one thing that drives me crazy is that it sends it to like some sort of review system, right? Our team of global experts will review my statement to ensure it's extracted accurately. Okay, I get the concept of having to use humans to train the AI and all that stuff. The problem is it's very anticlimactic. Like I'm super excited, I upload my statement, and then this happens. So I don't know. I almost prefer to say, sorry, I can't read your statement right now. Find some other path. And if you have access to the bank, just connect the bank directly. And if you have the CSV, upload it directly. But there's so many situations in which the bank account is closed, or we're doing a cleanup for 3 years, or the customer is just so freaking obtuse that they cannot get online. And the only thing they have is paper statements, and we have to scan them. And there's all sorts of situations in which the best thing we have is a PDF of the bank statement. I absolutely love the fact that we have that. Now, the challenge that some accountants have, this is like, they put here, our team of global experts review some statements for accuracy, so now they disclaim it here. But a lot of accounting pros were like, hey, should I be disclosing to my clients that I'm uploading bank statements and they're going somewhere across the world? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, I'm pretty sure their systems are secure, and whether they're in India or Singapore or whatever, I have nothing against the country or the people from there. It's just like, in general, like, it would be nice for me to know up front, if my data that I'm giving to a professional it's being sent to someone outside the firm, right? So like this concept of keeping everything within a firm, and I'm pretty sure the firm's going to keep things secure. It's something that for the most part, I just want disclosure if my accountant is going to be doing that. So I think that rubbed people a little bit of the wrong way. But in either case, I completely congratulate Intuit for moving that route. I think it was great. And then once it reads, actually I'm gonna upload one that actually reads, because I have to show you the next screen. The next screen it's really interesting. So let me upload that. Let me find one. I'm gonna find a real one, or one that it could actually read. I think it could read this one. So this is one that it actually reads, and I want to show you the next screen, because the next screen is super crucial, super important, because the next screen is the one where it kind of shows you what it read, what it didn't read so well, and this is when a human being is not. This is not when a human being is reviewing it. This is when it actually was able to capture it and read it and know what to do with it. So we'll give that a chance. I'm also going to monitor the chat to see if anybody's asking questions. Let's see. Somebody says, is this available now? I think it's available. It's available in all my files. So I'm pretty sure yesterday. So this is, and then Sue is saying, I used it yesterday for a cleanup and it imported and it was amazing. So great. Yeah. So I'm telling you, when it works, it's great. Okay, so the next screen, if it can't read something, it'll highlight for you, hey, I'm not sure if this dollar amount is correct. And you click on that, and it shows you the highlighted amount so you can sort of double check. I love this. It's absolutely amazing. I love this, okay? They were very much inspired by MoneyThumb. I mean, face it, if you're a MoneyThumb user, you know that this is how MoneyThumb works. But it's great. And then anything that it is not too sure about, you can, again, click on the amount or whatever, click on that, and then it tells you, okay, this is what I read. I read the Bola Ventura FL Hector Garcia, and you get to, clean it up or whatever, maybe get rid of what you don't want and just edit it. Okay. So, so you're able to, again, you're able to double check, triple check, if everything is accurate, check that every amount is accurate, okay, which you can do. And again, this is going to happen much often with like scan statements that have creases and stuff than actually a digital PDF statement. Again, if you're saying, I don't get it, I just connect my banks or download the CSV. Yes. Connect the banks and download the CSV. But when you don't have it, you might want to check to make sure that it can do it. So then after everything is reviewed, you can even look at all the review ones. You can actually see statement details, and like, for example, it didn't pick up the date correctly. So we'll just fix that, 02/26/2019. Okay. Okay, now it should read that correctly. Okay, now we're good. Now we click on import, and then the next stage would be, bringing all the transactions in, and importing all 192 transactions, and now they're in your bank feeds. So again, very similar if you've been working with MoneyThumb or ProperSoft or other tools that work like they, or I think DocuClipper is another one, but that's built into QuickBooks Online when you do a manual upload. So you upload the statement, and hopefully, whether it detects it or whether a professional reads it or whatever, that's there. So all the transactions are now loaded in there, and then you can get on with your bank feed. So that's when you click on the drop down next to link account, and you click on upload from file, and you drag and drop or select your file there. Okay, cool. We covered that. That's good news. Okay, the next one is called collaboration, and this is actually pretty neat. It is pretty neat. Actually, I'm pretty impressed by it. It's pretty cool. So let's say, for example, I am looking at a transaction. Let's go back here. I'm looking at a transaction, and I'm not sure how to categorize it. Right? So I'll look at this thing called Mitch's Westside Bag Western, and then I'm gonna enable my request more info. And then what I'll do is I'll click on the little plus sign, okay? And then I'm gonna ask, I gotta go to this little tutorial thing, it's driving me crazy. Okay, and then I get to ask a question like, what is this? Okay, now I can say, can you add a receipt? or I can say ask more info, or I could type whatever I want. So it's got these little templates, but then I can type whatever I want. And then I click on add to request list. Okay. So once I click on add to request list, this transaction that has not been categorized yet is permanently tagged as a requested transaction. So up here in the top, this says request. Okay. So then I go into request. And then all the transactions that I have open requests for will show on this screen. Okay. So right now there's only one. When I click on add alerts, and this is really good, this is where I can put my email of like how often I want to be alerted of stuff that's on the request list. I can look at the emails of the respondents that get, that get the request. So if I know exactly who I want them to see this, whether or not we want to push it into a QuickBooks Mobile and allow Intuit Assist for follow-up. It's actually pretty neat as well. This is like using AI to kind of help the customer through the answer. So the alerts are pretty cool. So once you're ready to send all the alerts, you click on send request, and then you write the email. So you can manually do it or set it up to automatically be sent. And then I'm going to click on the drop-down menu and click on copy magic link, because I'm going to show you what it looks like on the other side. So when the customer is looking at it, they'll get an email saying, hey, your accountant has questions for you. And with that magic link, they can access it without logging into QuickBooks. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to have your client in QuickBooks. As long as you have that magic link, then they can interact with it. So from this screen, they can upload a receipt. So I can go in there and let's say we'll upload that. Let's assume that's the receipt. Or they can ask a question like, for example, typical client, how am I supposed to know what this is? Okay, that's channeling my inner client, right? That uploaded some random thing and then ask, how am I supposed to know what this is? And then the Intuit Assist turns on, and then it'll try to like literally you'll use AI to try to figure things out. It'll probably read the document and look at the context and then try to answer in your behalf. Now it's not making decisions of categorization or anything like that, but it's kind of starting the process. Okay. And then maybe I uploaded the wrong thing because I made it a little confusing, but let's see if it gave me any answer. Let me see. Okay, it didn't give me an answer. Okay, let's see if it will give me an answer or no. But even if it doesn't give me an answer, that's actually not really that necessary to have an AI respond in your behalf. Usually the customer saying, oh, it was business or personal, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to have an AI chat in it. So while that loads, I'll do one more example, and maybe it'll be better illustration. So I go into Amazon here. I'll click on this thing and say, what did you buy? Now, what I wish, honestly, they had a little template here for, is this business or personal? That way I don't have to do a whole lot. I just need to know if it's business or personal. Like I know what Amazon is, because I don't want to say, can you tell me what this transaction is for? I prefer to just ask business or personal, and that would be good enough. I think that would be best, honestly. And then you request it. And then I'm going to go back to this side here, and I'm going to refresh the screen. Okay. So here's the Amazon transaction. Okay. And I can say stuff for the office, and I'll upload something. Let me see if I have anything with the word Amazon in my computer. Okay, perfect. Here's an order, maybe a receipt or something. And then I send this, and then, oh crap, use the thing. Okay, that's fine. And I said stuff for the office, and that's it. That was the answer. So this is the client side. This is the client answering this. And then when I go back, and then look, this is what Intuit Assist. To help me categorize Amazon purchase, can you be more specific than stuff for the office? That's pretty cool. For example, was it office supplies? Was it equipment or something else? Okay. And then I'm going to say general office expenses and send. So this stuff is happening, like your customers interacting with AI, and the AI is helping you gather the context for the transaction. And that's done. Then when I go back into my side here, and I'll hit refresh, I'm going to get alerted. Hey, your customer answered, so many transactions or whatever. And then I go back to my categorization, and then I click on this little thing, and then, okay, they send me the receipt, and then they specified is general office expenses. Okay, so that's, now that gives me the context. Okay, and then at that point, then I can, do whatever I want to do, which is go into here, type Amazon, and create the Amazon really quick. And I like the fact that you can quickly create the vendor on the fly. I love that. And then I categorize office supplies, and then I click on post. Now, the one thing that drives me nuts, and I'm hoping I'm proven wrong, and I'll say doesn't drive me nuts anymore, is when I go back and look at that transaction. Okay, never mind. They fixed it. So at the beginning, the attachment wasn't coming in. So I'm wrong. Doesn't drive me nuts anymore. They fixed it. Hopefully they got some feedback on that. So the attachment is there. So the one thing I love, I'll reframe it. One thing I love about this is that the same attachment that the customer uploaded shows up here into attachment. So it's absolutely awesome and amazing. And I'm telling you, they nailed it on this one. So as much as I criticize QuickBooks and so many other things, they nailed it. The request thing is great. And another thing I want to talk about requests is when you go into the request list, the stuff that's in progress is the stuff that will continue to show up in the alerts. So if you want, you're going to get rid of, if you don't want those things to show in the alert anymore, you just mark them complete. Now, one thing I kind of dislike is the fact that I already categorized this transaction and it's sitting for review. So like, I think they're missing that little step where, it should be implied that if I categorized it, it should be marked completed. Does that make sense? Or am I asking for too much? I think that it should just automatically mark it completed, right? So like it missed the mark there. So so it should have marked it completed in order automatically as I categorize it. So that's just a little tiny little piece that they missed. Maybe it's a setting, that they can add or something like that that says, autocomplete once I categorize it or something like that. Or maybe, while I'm in the, categorization process, I can do it. There is a little icon up here to mark complete. So to their point, you can mark it complete by clicking on that little icon there. So that's good. Okay. That's good for me. So we'll X out of that. Yeah. And then once it's completed, it has a little checkbox there letting you know that whole cycle of requests finished. Telling you, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. Like I don't even know how in the very first version of this, they did so well, but they did. Got to give them credit for it. Only thing they're missing, I think it's just automatic completing. I think they're missing that. And also a little option here for business or personal. That would be amazing because that's typically the most typical thing that I ask people. All right, let's move on to the new customer hub. So the new customer hub, it's a sort of reimagined customer area inside QuickBooks. So we are going to click on customer hub. And I'm going to ask you for a favor. For the 220 people that are watching live, I want you to give me 2 minutes to refill my water. I know we're live. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. It's been an hour and a half of all talking. Woo. A lot. It's a big one. A lot of stuff going on in new QuickBooks world. Okay, so the new customer. So a couple things that I like about this. Of course, I hate this little pop-up. I already had gotten rid of it and it doesn't go away. So one of the things that I like is that this screen, the customer screen, was feeling a little bit dated. And actually, it is a little bit dated. So they have a new customer screen. It's up here in the top that says check out the new view with filters. So when you click on that, now it says customers beta, and it's a slightly different customer screen. And they have a similar mechanism to the new search screen, where you can click on customize here, and you can change some of the settings here. Unfortunately, I cannot change the filter. So like for some reason, these filters here, I cannot change them. Like I can't change the order the way I can do with the search screen. I can click on this little drop-down menu and see all these little options, billing state, super useful, zip code, state, shipping city, being able to filter customers by that is super powerful. But I wish I could change the order like I did with, like I got spoiled, I guess, in the search screen. But, so you have active or inactive. So here's an option. And then we have our customer types, which is really useful. Now, all of a sudden, the customer types feel a lot more useful and consequential. And then billing city, again, billing city is probably I don't know, probably the stuff that I use the least. Let's say if I put here San Mateo, let's see if anything shows up. Okay, nothing. Maybe I don't even have billing addresses in here. So like the fact that this is the third one is just kind of dumb, because I don't do that. Okay. But if I click on customize, again, I could change what gets sorted by. So sorted by open balance or whatever. And I can change the columns, but I can't, at least yet. Again, maybe you watch this recording in 2 weeks and Intuit looks at this and goes, yeah, holy crap, we did miss that. And they add it. But what I really like to do is take these filters here and choose what filters I want to see. Like that's really powerful from the search screen. So you can do that. But what I do like is clicking on this little Roseforth page, maximizing that. Usually I want to see as many pieces of information as possible. And then row height, I like compact. That's my favorite one. And then alternate row color. Like I think that's game changer for me visually, to be able to see more data, easier to see which line I'm in. It's the little things, man. Like when they nail the little things, that's what they gotta cost. They gotta focus on this, like nail these little things, because that's what makes it more comfortable for us. And then the search bar. So if I type BA, it doesn't have the same behavior as the old screen, where it automatically shows you everything that contains BA. Like you literally have to type, then press enter, then it runs the filter, and then it shows you all the BA. Let me do BAR, enter. So that's the part that people don't like about this screen, is that they actually have to type and press enter. Whereas in the old screen, if I type BA, I already get a little drop-down menu of all the things that contain BA or BAR or whatever it is. And it also searches across multiple fields. It's not 100% clear to me when you click here and search across what fields are being searched. I would love for this to say, searching across all fields or the specific fields. And these columns here can also be customized. Under customize, you go into columns, you can pick and choose what data you want to see. So I say I don't want to see billing address, but I want to see email, and I want to see billing state or something like that. And customer status, I don't know what that means. I don't know what customer status is. Oh, active. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so then being able to choose that's great. Being able to reorder that's great. So if I want to see company name first, then name, and then I want to see open balance, then phone, and then email, and then zip code or whatever, or state. So like being able to pick that, again, I think where QuickBooks wins anytime that they customize the experience. That's every time. If QuickBooks wants to win, that's how you win. You customize the experience for the users, because power users have different ways that they interact with the software. So the more customization that you give us, the better. So I think net win on the new customer screen. If you just give me the ability to pick and choose which are the main things that I look at, great. I would also like to see filters for custom fields. I don't think they have the custom field filters here. So when you go into one particular customer, or maybe they do, maybe this file doesn't have custom fields. If I had any custom fields set up down here somewhere, where are my custom fields here? Okay, yeah, so we have contract number and spouse name, right? My file has these two, contract number and spouse name. I don't think I saw them. Let me go back into customers. I don't think I saw the custom fields here in the filters. Did I see them? No. So they should add that too, right? So that's really important. They need to add that too. And also under customize, are they here? They're not here either. So they completely failed to look at custom fields, which again, I don't know why they would do that. If you have custom fields, expose them. Otherwise, they're kind of useless. So that's great. It's a good step in the right direction. There's a new estimate section that just shows you estimates. I like that. It's got all the statuses in it. I like that. Drop down menus of things you can do with the estimates. I like that. Super, super useful. Doing things in batch. So I'll grab a couple of estimates here in batch, go to batch actions. I can send them, print them, or delete them. I wish I could batch change them to closed or pending or decline. Like I still have to do one at a time, change up the status at a time. But I think logically, it's you select a whole bunch and you can change the status of all of them. That would be useful. And then, of course, if you click on any one of them, you can go into the details, edit them, that sort of thing. Okay. Now we have the lead section. I have mixed feelings about this because I've been using CRM software all my life. But I find this pretty interesting. Like you can create leads. So I'm going to go to add lead and put, John Smith and John at gmail.com and phone number, 555-1212, whatever it is. Okay. And I create a lead. Okay. It's not a customer yet. It's a lead. And then I can track it. Okay. So this, I think I'm going to sell $500 to John, and it's warm lead and it's on the discovery stage. Now, I wish I could customize these things, but you can't. But what it gives you is not bad. I've been using CRM software forever. And I'm telling you, it's not bad. You can send them an email from here and it'll go straight into like your Gmail. So that's good. So it saves you a step for sure. So here, John, let's work together. We'd love to know what we can do for you. So it pre-writes stuff for you. I like it. Nothing against that. Here in the drop-down menu, there's a view. So you can kind of see like more details. If you have any notes, like you go into notes and then you click on add note and put did not answer, right? So call John, whatever. Okay. So you can do that. And it's time-stamped and it tells you who the user was. I can't delegate this to someone else or something like that in the note section, but in tasks, I can create a task. So I can go add a task and then I'm going to say, follow up with John. And, once tax planning or whatever. Okay. And then I assign it to an employee in my firm and I say it's due on this date and the priority is medium. And then I can attach things to it and stuff like that and click on save. And then now in this user's QuickBooks, they're gonna see a task, right? And the tasks are up here in the top. All the pending tasks are gonna be up here. Okay, so up here in the top in this little clipboard looking thing. So every user can potentially have tasks and kind of organized by due date. And there's also a task manager. So you go into the task manager and you can see all your tasks. So this whole concept of tasks is actually pretty interesting. So let me go back into the lead section. And then the last thing you would do is like once the customer is ready to buy from you or whatever, you add them as a customer. Okay. And then, all the information ports over. And then once they're a customer, I can do stuff with them. Now, the lead still remains here for some reason. Doesn't auto-archive. I wish it could. But then you can archive it and you can archive the lead and you don't have to deal with that lead later. The other thing that's interesting is if a customer, let me just go back here for a second. If a customer sends a review, and then we're going to talk about reviews in a second, you can enable the reviews section, and essentially you go into the settings here, and you turn on in post invoice feedback, you turn this on, and then automatically every time that you transact with a customer, it sends them a survey. Okay. Now I'm gonna attempt to show a live one here. I'm just hoping that the webinar guides are in my favor. So let me go into reviews, and actually I have to go into the customer itself. I gotta find the customer. So I'm gonna open up this customer. I'm gonna edit the email, and I'm gonna use an email that I can read. So david@qbkaccounting.com, because that will land in my mailbox. Click on save. Okay, and then I go into a new transaction, and I click on request feedback. Okay, so it's hidden in there. Okay, request feedback, and then it's pre-checked. Ask for work request, ask for a review, ask for a referral, send via QuickBooks Online. This is really neat, by the way. Like this is great, and I can turn it off or on. Like this is working great. Here's some like preview, so you can kind of see a preview of what it might look like. Okay, and then I'm actually going to click on send. So I asked my customer Aaron Davis for a review or feedback or whatever. Then I'm going to go into my email. I'm going to pull it up as if I'm that person. So here it is. Your feedback is important to us, right? So you click on that, and it says feedback request. Rock Castle Construction is requesting your feedback. Dear Aaron Davis, we enjoy working with you, blah, blah, blah. That's here when you clicked on feedback request. That was pre-written for you. So you had all the pre-written for you. And I don't know if there's a place where I could change that. I kind of wish I had like the AI was enabled here, so I can say, okay, write an email that's more friendly or whatever, or more compelling or whatever. I could use all the AI stuff for that. That would be interesting, but it's not there yet. So here we go. And then here's the message. So here's a little button that says go to survey. And then this is like the customer would be doing this. So then they click here and it goes, would you work with, I don't know why this switched it to Quick Bookkeeping and Accounting and not Rock Castle Construction. This is my accounting firm, but I was inside of my client. I don't know what's going on with the namings because this is my firm, but I was in a client. My client is actually called Rock Castle Construction. So there's some sort of bug that if I'm the accountant and I request for feedback, it's asking for feedback for, I don't know. Don't ask, okay? Then the customer says, would you work with them? I say, yeah, in 6 months. And then which service would you be interested in? So let's say, tax planning, maybe, whatever. Okay. Then I click on next. And then they get this little thing that says, yeah, we like your feedback. Can you tell me how satisfied you are? And then they say it was a 4-star. And then they can say, they took forever to respond, but work was great. Okay. And then they can optionally leave the contact information if they want to, and then click on submit. Okay. Boom, we recorded the feedback. And then in theory, again, it's like one of those things, like I can't, I don't know how things are supposed to work. But when I click on reviews, that's supposed to land here somewhere. Okay. I haven't seen the reviews land yet. Like I've done the motions of like testing it and do that. And I got emails that says, hey, so-and-so customer, because I turned it on in my file, in one of my firm files. And so I have some customers coming in and giving me some feedback, but I can't see the review. I don't know what the heck's going on. I can't, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And then when I go into leads, it added, this is one of the ones that actually added the text in the feedback, and it came in as a lead. So that's actually pretty good. That when they say I'm looking for this or looking for that, that comes in here. Okay, look at this one. Now this one says Zeno Associates LLC. Was that a customer I asked for feedback for? No, I asked for feedback from Davis something, but it says Zeno Associates. So I'm having a tough time understanding like where these names are coming from. Like I think there's just a major bug. I don't know where Zeno Associates came in. So, okay, so whatever. So it's sort of working. Okay, I guess, they call it beta for a reason. So a different customer name for some reason is showing up here, but it comes in as a lead and it says, hey, they're interested in tax planning maybe in 6 months. So that's great. That's great. Okay, like the idea behind this is great. Just like in the execution, there's all sorts of crazy things going on. I don't know if it's because I have my email address in more than one company file. It's just a mess. So like bottom line, they need paid beta tester. I repeat this so much. Okay. I repeat so much, but they need paid beta testers because, it's like always me, the one that's, discovering these broken things and I have to like email someone panicking about this stuff. Let's see. Oh, the other area here is called overview. It's pretty neat. It organizes all these customer hub activities. So we have our open leads, our estimates, in progress projects, unpaid reviews. Okay, although, again, I don't know where this number's coming from. I thought I had 2 reviews in there, so I don't know. And I thought I had 2 open leads or 3 open leads. I mean, they're clearly there. There's 3 leads there, but the overview is supposed to show me 3 leads. So I still having a tough time. Like, it's just so glitchy how this customer hub, again, it's beta. So I can give them feedback and say nothing's working, but I don't have time for that right now. Just go backwards here. I'll just tell them, go watch the video and fix whatever I said you got to fix. Refresh the screen. All righty, let's go to the next thing. There's just a lot of stuff. Leads, customers, estimates. Okay, so we got through Customer Hub. Good. There is a little screenshot because I actually can't figure out how to get back to this screen. But every so often, when you have like an open invoice, the AI will come in there and say, hey, I want to send a reminder. And then it gives you a list of all these reminders. I don't know how to open the screen. Like, it just happened randomly in one of my files. And then it allows you to, choose the AI feature to like write a, humorous, friendly, formal, serious note. And it sends them an email, and it gives you a quick analysis here of, about the customer. So you have the context. The customer hasn't paid you, has open invoices, has paid late 4 times. So it gives you like a little synopsis of everything that's going on, so you can send them a reminder. I like this. I'm actually not against this. It's just I haven't figured out exactly how to like trigger this. I could try it, but it's just not clear. Like, I have the screenshots because it's happened. So like, there should be somewhere in Customer Hub or in customers, there should be a button somewhere that says, send reminders. It's just not clear to me where the trigger is to send reminders. Okay, we have 0 invoices overdue. Is that true or not? Okay, so like I don't see the button trigger. Like, it just shows up randomly in that feed section. So something I kind of have to wait until it shows up. Actually, I'll switch to a different company where I think is where it came in through, because it might be a little bit more useful. Let me see. Let me go into feed, and maybe it's here in this file, or maybe not. Of course not. Okay. Let me go into my invoices, and I clearly have open and overdue invoices. Okay, here it is. That's where it shows up. It shows up in the invoices screen. So I drafted 1 reminder, invoice worth $3,000, and then I click on review reminder. So that's where it is. And then this pop-up, there you go. Beautiful. There's the pop-up screen. And then this is where I could, here I get all the information about the customer. And then I can say, hey, I want to write a stern letter and rewrite, and then it rewrites the text, and again, it's using AI, right? It's like using ChatGPT, and it's writing a more specific email. I like this a lot, actually. One thing I'm not sure about, if this is only in advanced or if it's only on the other versions. I actually don't know that, because this is actually an advanced file. So I'm going to guess that this one in particular is advanced only. Okay. So we're done with the bulk of the webinar. I'm just going to cover a couple more things. They announced, they have a new employee cost rates screen. I can open this fairly quick. And under projects, and I think this is advanced and plus. So for the reminders, it should be advanced and plus as well. I think advanced and plus. And so I'm going to go into projects here. And under manage settings, you click on this little drop-down menu and click on set cost rate, new. And then you get this table where you actually figure out what is your cost rate, or the burden cost rate of every employee. So if you're in construction, that makes a lot of sense to you. So we have, the hourly rate, and then you say, okay, it costs me approximately $12 an hour for the benefits. And the way you do that is you grab the annual benefits that you divided by the total hours that they work. insurance, health insurance or whatever, say $8 an hour, and overhead's an extra $3 an hour. So it figures out your burden cost rate. So then when you are creating a job cost report for or a project cost report, that's not based on payroll, that's based on timesheets. It will calculate it based on the $73 rate, not just on the pay rate itself. So it does allow you to do that. You can do it per hourly, per overtime, and per custom. So it's actually really useful when you are, bringing in timesheets with data for employees, and then you want to figure out what your costs are, and then you want to see what your hourly time costs. In this case, John Diaz is $136. These $136 are calculated based on the burden rate. So like right now it's based on $17, but if I change, its burden rate and I add it into a new timesheet, it uses a new calculation. So that's kind of the point of that feature. So it's great. It's not a new feature, just the screen is slightly easier to read. The other thing that's really cool is called the project management agent. As much as I want to end the webinar, I have to show you this one. This one's actually really cool. So let's go into projects. Okay, and I'm gonna click on new project, but I'm gonna switch over to the construction company, and I'm gonna pull up. I gotta pull up a contract. So what you see here on the screen is a PDF of like imagine a construction contract. Okay, it's a construction contract that contains a bunch of information, so to speak. Okay, a bunch of data, a bunch of information. Okay, and then I'm gonna upload this. The purpose of this is that I upload this contract, and and it reads data from the contract and it pre-fills it in the project creation screen. Okay, so again, that's the context. I'm gonna grab this contract that you're seeing on the screen, has a bunch of text, normal contract. Then I'm gonna go create a project. And this will be the last demo that I'll show. And it's very, very long, detailed, meandering and ranting webinar. I'll go into a new project, and then I'm going to click and drag that contract into project management agent. And the minute I click and drag, it reads it, and then it figures out where to put everything in the screen. Okay, and it'll like highlight it with all sorts of colors to let you know that came from AI. So it picked up the customer name, it picked up the the text from the notes, it picked up the address. It just picks up data. It's not always perfect. Let me try this again. Give me a second. I actually clicked and dragged the wrong thing. Let me bring the contract again. Okay. I uploaded the wrong thing. So let me X out of that and do it again. I uploaded a bank statement. Of course, it's going to give me random information. Let's upload the contract, and let's have it pick up. It should pick up all the data, including dates, including custom fields sometimes. There we go. So project X, start date, end date, expand the office, address, custom fields. It picked up all that information from the contract. That's cool. Okay, like having just having a regular contract and it pick up all the stuff from the custom fields. That's amazing. Really good. So if you're drafting contracts with Word, I think it'll be really useful to like use the similar terminology as a screen to make it easier for QuickBooks to read that. So that's really cool, and that's only in QBO Advanced. They also announced that Payroll is going to have a new feature called Save Effective Dates on Pay Types. This is very useful when you want to give somebody a raise, but you want to set it up now, but it doesn't kick in until like a month from now or something like that. That way you don't have to do it immediately, on the spot as you're doing the payroll. So you can pre-plan a raise or a change in a rate in payroll. That's huge. There's a article in the slides about that. Then sales tax, I found out like 2 days ago that QBO has been experimenting with electronically filing sales tax. Now, I happen to have no one in my firm has any customers from this state that does sales tax. So we haven't been able to test it. So I don't have firsthand knowledge, but it seems like 6 states are allowing you to e-file sales tax. Put in the chat if you have used any of this stuff and it works for the benefit of the other people. So I promise you, when I have screenshots and a way of demo that, I will do that. but I have not yet demoed, sales tax electronic filing in QuickBooks yet. I don't have time to go over Intuit Enterprise Suite. I was going to, I kind of left the slide there just in case, but luckily I have a 45-minute video in my YouTube channel. It's in the list of videos. It's one of the last ones that you can click on, and you can see every single new thing that they added to Intuit Enterprise Suite in the past 45 days. So with that being said, after 2 hours of only a 5-minute break, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being part of this quarterly webinar series. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for being a subscriber. Email me if you missed something. You should be able to have access to the slides, the recording in YouTube later on. Last chance, if you want to come to Reframe, make sure you sign up before we sell out, and come hang out with me in Miami. We'll talk about ChatGPT, AI, pricing with confidence, all the things that are going to help us reshape our profession. So I'm putting my part. Now it's time for you to put yours, be part of the movement. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next quarter.